Welcome to Satisfactory Designs. My name is Nilaus, and today we're going to look at trains in Satisfactory. So trains were just released as part of the latest update, update 2, and they are somewhat strange, somewhat complicated, but really awesome. So we have here a train yard, a playground for us to build. I will be making 2 train tutorials because I think that it's too much to cram into one. First, I'm going to talk about the basic stuff. This is what we're going to do today. Just the basics of stations, tracks, trains, and schedules. Now, the next episode, or the second part of the tutorial, will be more advanced about how to do multiple stops and the difference between single and double-headed trains, pros and cons, and what you can and cannot do and what you should be careful of. But let's start with the very basic stuff. I chose to do it this way so that I could build an entire station just for you. Right, so let's start with the very basic stuff. How about building some tracks? You can see here the tracks are, well, probably should have started with the research, but that's research tier 7. Actually, it's tier 6, I think. So let's start by making some tracks. Some of the things you will notice immediately. First thing is they now snap to the foundations, which is awesome. Also, the minimum length is, now wait for the autosave, about 1.5, slightly more than 1.5 blocks. So let's do like 2. Yeah, so this is pretty much what we can start off with. Now the next part I want to do is, now that we look at this from the perspective of how I always look at things. And that's make things nice and neat. And for that you can make a corner. If you go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, then it almost fits. Here the key point here is almost. For some reason it doesn't quite. It looks like it's really sharp, but you can't attach this one to another one, and make a small circle of this size. But you can do this one, and that will be good enough for us. Now let's build somewhat more. We're just going to build a small train just to get a sense of it. And then we're going to curve it again. This is too tight. And if we go here, it will be happy. And again, we can do it this way. So now it's completely aligned with that. Now we have a nice flat curve. So let's build a station. Stations, all of it is down here, railed vehicles. I find it a bit strange that it goes like this. I really wanted the railways to be part of logistics, maybe even the trains part of logistics. I don't know, doesn't matter. Let's make a simple thing. So here we have a station. It's a big thing, and luckily this also snaps to foundations, so everything we do will be snapping to foundations. There, it snaps. So we have a station. Now it's big. It is 6 foundations high. So if you build 7 foundations, is it 6? Is it 5? 1, 2, 3, 4. No, it's 5 foundations high. The 6th foundation can be built on top. Yeah, the 6th foundation can be built on top. And we can see that it is possible to go back here. Alright. Maybe it did. There, see? It is possible to go on top. It's 6 sides high. It's very nice to know sometimes if you are making them below. So 5 foundations high is the height of the station. Now the station, you can see it has a name. Let's make it, name it here. Have an efficient day. Thank you. Tutorial 1. And you can see here, this one is not powered. We luckily have a power pole ready for exactly this purpose. Drag it in. It goes in a strange location. Well, this is not the most ideal. And we now have the train station power. The great thing about the train station is it leads the power in the rails as well. So when you get to another station like far an outpost, you don't have to drag power poles. You can just rely on the grid or the tracks to lead it out. So the next thing you have is actually, let's also get that, just 2 different types. So this is where the locomotive will be placed. Should we build the locomotive? Yeah, let's build the locomotive here just so we can see what it looks like. Boom, beautiful locomotive. The engine here at the back, the brakes, all the front. Now, something to note is it does not have collision, so you don't have to be afraid you will not get run over like in Factorio. That's nice, but also a bit sad. Next part is we need somewhere where we have some loading stations. Now this is a loading station. No, that's not a loading station. This is a loading station. They don't have a direction. So they can be flipped. You can see over here on the right hand side, they have 2 outputs and 2 inputs. And if they flip like this, they have 2 outputs and 2 inputs. The reason why they both have inputs and outputs, I think, is because they cannot change those, the animations of them, when they change. But when you then take a look at this, each platform, freight platform, is controlled independently. So you can either say it's an unloading station or it's a loading station. In this case, we're just going to make it a loading station. Yes, and we're going to make another one. And let's see. Make another one like this. No, let's actually do something else because I want to show how it works. Now this one is an empty platform. It doesn't do anything except it means that whatever is here will not be loaded or unloaded. This can be useful when you get to more advanced stuff. If you have a train with multiple stops on it or multiple wagons on it and you want to unload number 1 in one location, number 2 in the second location, then you leave the ones that should not be loaded or unloaded empty. Now this one, just to illustrate, this will be an unloading location. Oh my god, it's difficult. I'm probably going to make a complete mess out of this. So what we've done now is we have made enough for a train that should look like. Let's put some cargo wagons on. Now it will not start working. You just simply place them afterwards. 1, 2, and then they pretty much snap. 3. You can base. It seems like you can make as many as you like. It does not affect the power of the train in terms of getting up and down hills. So let's. This is the station. This is it. We can actually go in already and we can try ourselves driving the train. Looks amazing as it's driving here. And we're just gonna brake. We're braking. Getting out. Now the next thing we want to do is obviously make another station. So we're gonna stay. Basically we have here over here we have an unloading station, an empty station, a loading station, and a train locomotive station. Oh, it's not, let's call it platform. Freight. Unloading platform, empty platform, loading platform, and the station. So we're going to do it in opposite sequence here. Obviously, it doesn't have to be straight next to it, but you know me. If you know me, then yes, it kind of does. Let's see if I can place it here. No, it doesn't like it. So we build it down here. We just check that we are building it correctly. I'm gonna try to make it here then. This is the train station. We're gonna call it Tutorial 2. So this one is pointing this direction because it has to. The train comes in from this side, and then we can build a station here. We need to get out of it. That one. This will correspond to this one because it's the one that's closest to the train. That was the empty one, and hopefully it snaps. I think it snaps here. Yeah, it should. This is why it's so great that things work to foundations, so it does snap. Now we need to match them. Well, first let's complete the tracks, right? Complete the tracks. We're just gonna make it very simple for ourselves here, just by taking it, getting 2 out, and then making a curve over here, and then making 2 more, and that should give us into here, and that will complete it like so. All right, so now we have a full setup. Full little loop, very small, but still. Alright, we are going to start from the locomotive. So that's going to be locomotive, wagon 1, 2, 3. Yes. That means locomotive, wagon 1, 2, 3. The number 1 here is going to be loading. I'm just going to put 500 quick wires in. That means we're just going to make sure that it's sustainable. Yeah. Nope. So I need things coming in from here and they need to go out. Yes. And this one will now be an unloading station. So basically when it comes here, then wagon number 1 will unload. It'll go and feed over to this one. Also something to bear in mind, as you can see, I have not put any power poles for this one, yet it is still powered because it's powered by the train. And we can even go so far as to say, I want to power a machine on the outside here. And then we can take the power pole straight from this station and in. And then it's powered. No warning about no power. So that's great. That means power poles are redundant when you have trains. Yay! Awesome. Right, let's make the other one. This one is wagon number 3. It should be a loading. And you're going to load this one. Which means... Oops. You need to inbound. Is that inbound? No. It's not inbound. That's inbound. No, take the top one. Just I don't know if this can even be done. No, it cannot be done. Typical. Ah! Why oh why? I'm not supposed to be doing this kind of thing. Here. And this one is unloading, putting it on the belt, loading in there. Now, what I think we've done is like a very, very simple setup. So let's try running it manually first. Here. Let's look at the beautiful train. It starts up. You can see the speed and the power consumption. We can just run it. Let's run it a bit around just to get a sense of it. I like that it's leaning a bit in the corners. If you look at it, it's leaning into the corners. Speeds are going up, and yeah, braking takes a while. See if we can brake in this location. Yeah, there we go. All right. So now I think it's time for us to look at the last bit of this with the train, and that is actually scheduling, and then we can walk through what happens when it goes. You press C, and you go into a timetable. You can also access it, jumping out from one of the stations. The stations here, there's another tab called timetable. It will identify the locomotives that are connected to this, and here you can set up a timetable. The interesting thing is, when you're in the train and set up a timetable, it will not apply. C. So at this point, I'm going to tutorial 1, and then I check another one, and then click on it, and then you can change it. So this is the extent of the automation you can do. This is it seems really strange because you don't tell it if it's loading or unloading. You basically tell go to the station and do whatever the hell the station says you should do. And that's because each platform is controlling what it should happen. You see here, currently nothing happens. You can also call it tutorial train. There. As soon as I exit, it starts working, except as long as I'm in the train, it's running on manual mode. And that's always the case. So as soon as I jump out with E, it should start working. So now it goes to train station number 1, I hope. Alright, yeah, okay, it is. Can I catch it if I go here? Yes, I can. So we go to train station number 1. Remember, the first one should be loading, and the second one should not do anything, and the third one should be unloading. Now there's nothing to unload, so let's have a look It goes in, and it brakes here at the station. Once it brakes, let's see if it does what it's supposed to. The number 3 is not doing anything, but number 1 is starting a loading process. The colors are still kind of messed up, but that's just the way it is. We just got a load inbound. That was, I think that was the Cateria, no, the quick wire. And then let's see if we go over. We're gonna let it run a full cycle just to see how things are working. The whole logic of when it takes the container, it only takes the container off if it completely empties the wagon. If it only takes some of it off, then it does an animation, but it does not take the physical container off because there's still something left. I'm not sure what I think about that, but well, so now we should see both of them engaging. The first one should be unloading and the rear one should be loading. Let's see, fingers crossed. Did I do it right? Oh yeah. So that one in the back is starting loading, on the front starting unloading. And the middle one, nothing happens because that one is set to just an empty platform. And that's an autosave lag. There. Means idle, and then it goes. And you will be able to see here on the belt all the Cateria ore that's been unloaded now starts moving back to the loading location as fast as it can. 780 per minute, so that'll be taking 40 seconds to transfer all of it. Probably a bit less than, it's pretty much about where, how much we actually need here. So let's have a look. This one should now unload the copper wire and load another set of quick wires. So let's see, and that will complete the full schedule. It looks beautiful. I mean, it's just very enjoyable to watch this. And that's where we are. And there it is. You should be able to see once it starts. There we go. We can see over here by the cursor. There, all of the copper wire is now starting transferred because we just unloaded it. This one will have, if we jump to it, unfortunately I can't click it while it's en route. I have to go like this. Then we can see all 500 is there. So that's basically the extent of the train logic. If you want to keep it really simple, let's jump up here to the top, just because that's a great place to stand. Right, so now we're looking at everything but the trains. That makes no sense. Let's look at the actual train here. Right, so I would recommend, if you are not at all familiar with the trains, build something as simple as this. Maybe even build this thing here just as a test set so you can see how it works. Whether you build it in terrain, it is possible to go up and down hills as well, not steep hills, only like half ramped inclines and declines. That's all it can do, and it will have trouble braking when it gets down a hill. Yes, I noticed that. But if you try to keep it simple, here's some basic rules. Keep it at level. Keep each station at 2 stops, 1 loading, 1 unloading, then it's pretty simple. Or you can also do multiple load and a single unload. Once you start having multiple components and multiple loads and unloads, things get very difficult or very complex, and we're kind of still missing some logic to control it. So this thing working right, you can have one train that transfers between 2 different locations. 1 loading, 1 unloading. It can transport quite a lot. We don't know exactly how much. I would recommend timing it and then seeing how much, because it can load all, I think it's 24 locations that's in one of these. Now that should be basically it. So what we've done is we've looked at the station, the different types of platforms. We looked at the tracks, how to lay them. We have looked at the trains and how to set up schedules. And then we've seen the whole thing come together. Very simple, in the very simple setup. Now there's a lot more to it. such as if you want multiple stops, if you want to have tracks branching, if you want to go up and down hills, all those things, but that seems to be beyond the scope of a basic train tutorial. So I'm gonna wrap this one up here, and hope you enjoy it. If you do, hit that like and maybe even share it if you feel it's relevant for someone else. Now, beyond that, I'm going to make another tutorial. It's going to be taking a bit more to set up in advance, but I'll be making the tutorial probably in a week's time or so. Thank you very much for joining. Hope you enjoyed. Until next time, stay effective.